Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. All right, I think we are live, my friends. Maybe. Let's go and check. If we go to, let's see. Oh, looks like it. Is there anyone in the chat? Bum, 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 bum. We got some stuff to talk about. Eric, welcome back, my friend. How am I sounding? I've got my mic turned up. I can see I'm beyond the green into the yellow, but not into the red. So I hope I'm not blowing out your eardrums. Let me know if I need to turn it down a bit or even just a little bit up. I think I could go up one more notch if I'm still not quite loud enough. Do let me know. Let's see here. And I'm noticing my background is not so great. What if I go like, I don't know how to do what I want to do. Well, Eric, how was your weekend, my friend? I'm assuming it's just about come to an end for you, as it is a Sunday evening. Not sure where you're at. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We got a lot to talk about, though. We do. Okay. Let's go to, let's see. Figure we can give it a couple minutes to see who all is going to join. Of course it's gonna, okay. Michigan, awesome, okay. I've been to Detroit, I think, a couple of times in my day. Let's see. Okay. So there's that. Just going over my itinerary. Where did it go? All right. Well, excited to talk about side fun. Oh yes, we're going to. We are going to. We might even be joined by Mrs. Retro here at some point. Not sure. She's doing some stuff upstairs at the moment, but she may grace us with her presence. So, as well as the dogs. I can hear them running around. But okay. So, let's get started with, I think for those of you that have seen my Instagram, you may have seen me post about this, but I have something really neat I wanted to show you guys. And as far as the stream tonight, I'm going to talk about a couple retro gaming things. And oh, well, hello there. Let's get you mic'd up.
I just observe.
Let's do easy. There, we'll put it on that side. So, and then you can just hold that or put it on the thing. I will be right back after I grab something. But you can still hear me.
Just tripped on kids' toys in the hallway.
Yeah. Where did there it is. Okay. Oh yeah. So, first things first, we are going to talk about my new, for me, Game Boy Advance. So, I grew up with the Game Boy Color, and then moved on to the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color I played way more of, but I always did have a very special place in my heart for the Game Boy Advance. I don't know what ended up happening to my original one. You played Game Boy Advance as well.
I had a pink one.
We talked about this a little bit, I think, last stream. But 2 weeks ago, it had not arrived, the one that I had ordered. But this is one that I picked up at a yard sale. How long have I had this, sweetie? It's been a couple of years ago now. That used to be the indigo color, but somehow it got discolored, just to kind of enjoy some of my cartridges. But this one here arrived in the meantime, and I'm really excited to show you what we've got here. So I did set up a fancy second camera here, so we'll see how this works with don't mind the dog hairs, guys. Oh, that looks that looks pretty good. I think you guys can see that okay. So this case is a 3D printed case, and I'm going to show you who I had do the work on this. But without further delay, oh, would you look at that? So we'll set that to the side there.
You gotta show them the lights.
Oh, I will. Let's see, where did I put... Shoot, where did I put my cartridges, guys? Oh, I know where they are. So this is a modded Game Boy Advance by Gamer Girl Game Boy Mods, I think is what her channel is called. So I picked this Castlevania cartridge up the other day over at Misfits, but we'll get it turned on here so you guys can see just how beautiful. Oh, look at that. So these LEDs inside the transparent case, you can customize them, which is, I think, really cool. So let's see, turn down the volume there real quick.
And the lit screen is nice.
Yes, good point.
Because when I would play it, we had to buy a separate component that you would like snap over the front and then lift the hinge and adjust the light, or you couldn't play it in the car, which stunk when it was nighttime.
So I've got the settings on to where when you press a button, it will illuminate even more, just because I think that's kind of fun. I don't know. But yeah, and then you can see around the back, you've got all of the transparent shell. Now I grew up in a time when the, oh, now I'm forgetting what it was called. When the Nintendo, the Funtastic, I think they called it Funtastic, where it was Nintendo called it Funtastic, but all of the Mac computers, it was like transparent, the transparent, style. Yeah, the style. You had the transparent plastic where you could see through, and I was tempted to maybe do a colored plastic on this, but I just thought that this crystal clear see-through looks just so great. And then I went ahead and had her, for eagle-eyed viewers, you might notice this frame is not the original Game Boy Advance one. It's in the theme of the original Game Boy DMG. And so I thought that was a nice little added touch. But yes, this is the custom Game Boy Advance, and it works really great. I'm not going to play it here because we got some other stuff to talk about. And then mine also, I went ahead and did the USB-C upgrade so that you can just charge it by plugging it in. But she did include the adapter to where if I wanted to just take this out and put in AA's again, I could do that. But anyway, so this, let me show you. She's got a website. This is it, gamergirlgameboymods.com. She is awesome. There's a really cool, I think this is a PDF where you can go through and it shows you all the different selections that you can make. It shows you all the different options that they have. You can even send in your own if you want your own to be modded, which I didn't do that on mine because I wanted to be able to have sort of a side-by-side just so that I could see how big of a difference. Which, let me throw in another cartridge here just so that you guys can kind of see. Here's a favorite, Super Mario Advance. Yeah, you guys can kind of see just how different the screen. Turn that down. But anyway, and Eric, what's the battery? That's a good question. I don't honestly know at this point. I've only put a couple of hours
You haven't
into.
killed it yet.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't played through yet. This Castlevania cartridge. But that is a good question. I'll be sure and report back if I do get to the point where I've played it through all the way. But I did want to give a huge shout out to Katie, and she makes these 3D print cases, which I really like. It fits nice and snug for protecting the. Except I did learn it doesn't fit with a cartridge in it, and I keep forgetting
put
that.
the camera down so they can see that.
Oh, here you go, guys. Good call, dear. So you can see here, there's this insert that's made out of kind of like a TPU, a 3D printed TPU. I'm not sure if that's what it's actually called, but that's what it feels like. But yeah, you can put it in there, and then it just clasps down nice and tight. And yeah, it feels great. And this is,
choose the color.
I didn't know. So she sent this as a thank you.
Oh, that's
I didn't even realize that she was sending this. And so now I love the color. This kind of
it's a good color.
a lime green, specifically a neon green, is my second favorite color after red. But yes, so there's that that you can get as well. But let me go back
Someone had a
here.
question about Pokemon?
Oh, let's see. Question here. Vic, so shiny. Yes, and it's the camera. There's a lot of reflection and stuff going
The
on.
colors look even cooler.
Yeah, in person it does look quite a bit more impressive, despite it looking really impressive on the camera here. Okay, Haguilar, welcome back. With Pokemon Fire Red / Leaf Green getting re-released for Switch, seeing this makes me want to play it on original hardware. Love it, and I personally am a huge fan of original hardware. First and foremost, but I know it can kind of be hard to come by, and I do like these type of retro resto modding projects where it adds a little bit of quality of life benefits to them. As Mrs. Retro had said, it's once you're so used to playing on a backlit LCD or OLED or something like that, going back to the original Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, any of them. I think the SP, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, the little clamshell Game Boy Advance was the first one that had a backlit screen.
My brother had one of those.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
I was,
square one.
Yep. I was always really jealous of those. Never had one of those. But yes, I wanted to give Katie a huge shout out. She does a lot of Instagram content here. You can see Gamer Girl, Game Boy Mods. She's awesome, super communicative, gave me updates throughout. So yeah, thanks to Katie. I don't know if she's going to end up seeing this, but she does great work. I haven't had any issues with mine at all, so I can definitely highly recommend her. Hi, dog. What do you want? No, I don't want your bad breath. That's some bad breath, dog. Okay, so first was that. Oh, but yeah, to your point, Haguilar, the I don't know. I think it's cool that that people maybe that didn't have them originally are able to experience them now on Switch, but it's just, I don't know, it's not the same as original hardware to me.
Is anyone coming out with devices that use that see-through plastic style? Like, do you think there'll be a return?
Yes.
I feel like it would.
There is, in fact, let me grab. So, let's go over to. So, Mrs. Retro has just asked if I think there is going to be a return of the see-through. Let's see, analog. Oh, I always go to the wrong one. Analog 3D. So analog has just, I don't know if they'll have it here on their main site or if it would be on their social media. So for those of you that are not familiar, Analog very recently released a reproduction Nintendo 64. I have not played one yet. I haven't been able to get my hands on one. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. And they also, there they are, right there.
Ooh.
So they've just done this, I think, limited run of the analog 3D that have some very, very reminiscent colorways to back when
We had a green 64.
a green for Donkey Kong. So that's one that I'm aware of. And then the Mod Retro M64 has a few different transparent colorways. There is also, not that we cover a lot of smartphone stuff on the channel, but if we go to Nothing, they also do some of that transparent housing that I think is pretty cool. They've got headphones that they do it in as well. And I know of some other ones that I can't talk about publicly that are also going to be having some of that transparent. Not secret, just non-disclosable at this time. So yeah, there are a few different things, and I love it. I think it's cool to see it coming back.
I can still feel the heat of the computer lab in my elementary school with all of the blue Mac computers. Just like
let's go and let's show them what we're, I mean, some of the people in the chat might remember this, but
and the smell, that like battery smell.
No, it was even before that. 2004 eMac. Oh, see, this is even after this one.
You have to type blue. Yeah.
There we go.
That's what my school had.
Who remembers these? These were so cool.
And they had like a coordinating mouse and keyboard. Like it was all very.
And they had they also had a MacBook. Let's see, 1998. I don't know if it was even called a MacBook back then. They had Apple had this right here.
Oh.
The iBook, they called it.
Oh, I think my cousin might have had one.
I don't want to log in. No.
It just seems so like Lizzie McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire. There you go. Let's go to images. No, this is not what I want. Let's just go to this.
I'm getting you off topic. I'm sorry.
No, this is good. So how many remember these? Let's see.
See, I feel like they should just bring it back. Just exactly like that.
Yeah, I think, there's a cool one. I don't know why, and you know, in the chat.
I feel like people would buy them. That's what we want.
I would buy them.
Boring gray, dull.
I think this is something, I actually saw a post the other day where someone was comparing, what was it? It was like 1996 to 2026, and it was like, the cars were all colorful.
Or like the McDonald's Playland. Or
everything was like everything was fun, zany, and now everything is just like black, white, or brown. And I don't know. I hope that we see a resurgence with, you know, already with analog, mod retro, nothing tech. We're seeing some of it, but I think that hopefully we can see some more of it. Okay, here real quick, catching up. Canucks, welcome back, Canucks. Suppose we'll hear anything about the Titan 2 Elite or the Communicator on day one of Mobile World Congress. That's a good question. I was talking to Kevin a couple days ago, and they're going to be there. There's a lot of meetings that they have planned out. They've got and we are going to talk a little bit about both Communicator and the Titan 2 Elite a little bit later in the stream. So I'll come back to this, Canucks. Eric, can't wait to get my modded GBA. Modern games just aren't doing it for me anymore, and I'm finding myself looking to play older games. Yes, and let's transition over to the next thing that I wanted to cover. I think that you make a good point about modern games not really doing it the way that the older games used to, but I would say it has little to do with the time and everything to do with the nature of how the game was made and the motivations of the people making the game. And I say that because this is also making a comeback, which I may have briefly talked about on stream before, but we'll dive into it a little bit more. Henry's here. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday, Henry. And And yes, Eric, love those Mac computers. Too bad they didn't make in that style anymore. Fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see it again. But yeah, transparent stuff. It's just not quite as popular as it once was. Hopefully we see a comeback. But I did want to show you guys. Let's see. Let's go back over to the overhead cam. So this is my super fancy official Mod Retro chromatic carrying case. I wanted to show you this because it's kind of cool. You've got room for a spare cartridge, Dragon Inn. I've been playing Buck and the Cursed Cartridge recently. I'm getting pretty close to the end. I do like this GameStop special edition, first edition chromatic. I think it's a very sharp looking color. But the reason I was saying that about old games versus new games is because and we can talk a little bit more about this right now. These low poly, or sometimes I refer to them as 8 through 64-bit games, are making a comeback in kind of a big way. So if we go over, I use Mod Retro as an example just because it's the one that I have purchased from and I have the most experience with. So on their website, if you go to the chromatic page under games, you can see over here, they have released some classic games that were released back in the day. So you've got Croc, Rayman, Sabrina. These are all ones that I was familiar with. Obviously the 90s Atari games. There's a collection of 3 different games. But I had not realized until very recently, you guys, I swear I was living under a rock just because how returning retro this is specifically. Look at all of these games that have been released as brand new releases just in like the last year and a half, 2 years. All of these games. Yes, gasp, my dear. Can you believe it? These are all 8-bit games that didn't exist back in the day. They are brand new releases. And it's not just Mod Retro that's doing it. So for example, Incubate Games. Here we go. Incubate is releasing some as well. You've got Homebrew Factory. Let's see if this is going to work.
No.
Switch to the USA shop. I don't know why it's going so slow. So you've got Homebrew Factory. I mean, there are several different publishers, not to mention the dozens or I don't know, maybe even hundreds of developers creating games for the 8-bit platform. You know, the most common of those being Game Boy, Game Boy Color. But I think we can say Game Boy Advance is going to see the same treatment, and then Mod Retro specifically has said that they are going to be releasing M64 re-releases of games that came from years prior, as well as some that never did launch, brand new games that they're going to be developing. And then Palmer Luckey was recently on a podcast, and he said they're actually going to go and save some games that were canceled for the Nintendo 64. So they had got to a very far spot in development and for whatever reason were either canceled or skipped the N64 and ported over to a different platform, so maybe GameCube instead of the N64. And so I thought that was really, really exciting to hear. Not only are we getting re-releases, we're getting new games as well as some that had been canceled.
I had to sniff it to know what it was.
Thank you, dear.
You know what? A lot of people do that. It's not just me.
How many of you sniff a drink before you drink it? My wife just made the claim that a lot of people do that. I don't know. Eric, time to start a new collection. Yes. And that's not to say there are still plenty you can get secondhand of the original cartridges, and there are some to varying degrees of reliability, reproduction cartridges I know that you can get. I've never used those myself, but I think that some people have really good luck with them. But yes, this is very exciting for me to start out a whole new collection. Squeaky toys are the original retro tech. Yeah, there you go.
It's not our kids causing chaos, it's the dogs.
So you've got the controller that is going to be launching sometime after the M64. Now on that same podcast interview, I did think it was really interesting. So I guess when the Chromatic launched, they went out of stock almost immediately. And it was a big issue because a lot of the developers that had licensed their games to publish through Mod Retro were like, hey guys, people can't play our games if they can't buy the Chromatic. And so learning from that, Palmer Luckey said that they are currently in mass production for the M64 and are going to wait until launch until at least they have sufficient stock on hand to confidently be able to avoid that situation again, which I think is probably wise. I think that the M64 is probably going to be quite popular, which, here's a fun little topic. I'm curious what you guys would say. In fact, I don't know if Tyler's here. I think I might have actually talked to Tyler about this a couple of months ago. I would be curious to know what console it was for you as to when we'll call it old school gaming stopped and when modern gaming began. So for me, what would you say? Do you know?
The Wii.
The Wii? Was that, was the Wii the beginning of modern gaming or the last of the old school?
Beginning of modern.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Because before that, you still had the corded GameCube controllers.
Okay.
Well, that's what we had.
Sure.
For the Wii. Just the concept that you didn't have to be plugged in and you could control the motion and everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. So chat, I'm curious for you, when old school gaming stopped and modern gaming, for me, the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation, this was the end of the old school gaming. So for me,
You're a little older.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. The original Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube, that was for me, even when I think back, like I know some people, especially maybe younger subscribers, they think of Halo as retro gaming or old school, whereas for me, that was where modern gaming began. And there's a number of reasons for that. The hardware was so much more powerful. The 3D graphics comparing on a GameCube to a Nintendo 64 is just so different. Some people would even say, the N64 over the Super Nintendo was the big.
The Halo controllers that Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did those have a cord?
The ones that they shipped, primarily. I think that after a while you could get third-party wireless controllers, which you could for the GameCube as well. In fact, Nintendo might have even made first-party GameCube wireless controllers. But the biggest thing, and I know that there were some that were capable of it before, but online gaming. So with the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, GameCube to a lesser extent, that was one of the things that really just kind of goes hand in hand with modern gaming that you, with a couple of exceptions, didn't really have before. So there was the graphical side of things, there was the hardware side of things, but then there was also...
when you could buy games digitally.
Ooh, yes, yep, that's a good point, Hakular. Like the digital purchases. That's, I think, another part of it. But yes, so for me, everything up to and including the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, that for me is what I consider the old school, the original generation of video games. And then Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube on forward, that was when modern gaming for me began personally. Okay, how are we doing? We talked about another fun one that I wanted to show you guys. I need to figure out something better to do with my keyboard.
Eric said something.
Is the Superboy.
Did you show this last time? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah,
I did.
The color looks so bad.
I did. Yeah, this camera, the color reproduction is not very accurate. Let's see. Henry, I agree. PS3 and 360 are for sure when modern gaming arrived. I know a lot of people say that, and I understand why they do. I don't know if it's just because of my age or whatnot. But yeah,
It depends on what device you grew up with. having first.
Sure.
Right? We didn't have any video game device until the N64. And so for me, that was the beginning. So anything before that, I didn't have reference to. So that's why the Wii felt like such a switch up.
Sure. So I would say, I think that, so Eric, your point here, between PS1 and Xbox is where the line is drawn for me anyway, although I'd have to agree that Halo Combat Evolved at this point can be considered a classic. Yes, however, I would point to one thing, because a lot of it is perspective. Like a lot of people maybe, didn't, do you need to go?
No, I'm just trying to see if I can make the color adjust. But,
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
but I think even if you just held it up in this, oh yeah, look how vibrant it looks on this. Then it's like,
Yeah, I don't know what the deal, maybe the lighting.
really bright.
So this is the Superboy. It's by a company called Hyperkin, and it is really neat. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour. But to finish my point here, real quick, here's what I would say. When you compare, and I agree, Halo Combat Evolved is a classic. But when you compare Halo Combat Evolved to something like Call of Duty or the newer Halos, I would argue that Halo Combat Evolved has way more in common with modern games than it does with even GoldenEye 007, which came out just a few years prior. I think that Halo Combat Evolved has more in common with a game 20 years later than it did with a game just a few years prior. In terms of the physics, the gameplay, the graphics, all of that. And so so yes, exactly. Like a perspective where you started is really going to be a big determining factor there. So I think for me it was when the internet changed how we played socially. Yes, and that's another part of what I really like about the things like the M64, the Chromatic, the Analog 3D, the Hyperkin Superboy, or their Retron devices, is you used to, when you would play video games, you would do it with someone in the same room, maybe in the same house if you were doing, a network party, a LAN party, which was always a lot of fun. Speaking of Halo Combat Evolved, we would do System Link parties with my neighbors, and that was always a lot of fun with the big long Ethernet cables to connect all the different devices. But you were still in the same room or the same building as each other, and it was a lot of fun. But this is something that I think is one of the detriments of the online gaming. Is it went from being something that was really neat to connect you to people all over the world to becoming the norm to only be connected with people everywhere but where you are. And that's something that I think, and I'm thrilled to see some of this coming back with the likes of some of these companies that we've talked about. But the Superboy, this is something. So the Super Nintendo was a console that was, came out in its prime when I was young, but we didn't have one. We didn't have one in my house. And so for the very first time, I am able to play through some classics. I have Super Mario World in here right now. We actually, earlier today, my two older kids and I, we finished Donkey Kong Country. And that was a lot of fun seeing them all get into it. But we've been primarily doing it.
One cried because it was over.
Oh yes, yep, very sentimental, saying that it was so sad that the game was over, and he immediately wanted me to go back and play it again. But the Superboy is pretty cool because it plays original cartridges. You've got you can see in there, and yes, I have blown air in there to get some of the cartridges to work, which they say it doesn't help, but it definitely does. You can also with this play either the European versions or the North American versions. And this little guy right here, I've used it I've used it in bed. Mrs. Retro can attest to me probably staying up too late playing.
You say, Beth, you shouldn't have your eyes in front of screens before bed, and then
we
I come up and there you are.
We don't need to talk about
curious.
But anyway, you can plug it into a TV, and then these little covers here, you can actually connect controllers to it as well. So you can play it on your either your AV, older style TV, or if you have an adapter, you could plug it into an HDMI. But it's really cool. You can just, and then the power switch is up there. Let me make sure the volume is down. Oh man, that camera does not really want to focus. But yeah, there you have it. Super Mario World.
I just think the design of it's so fun.
It really is. I mean, it's pretty big. Just to give you guys some perspective.
They just nailed it on the shape and the colors.
Oh, that doesn't even do it justice because that's so much closer to the camera. Let me put it maybe below it. There you go.
Is it heavy? Would you say it's heavy?
No, it's not. It's not heavy. I mean, it's heavier than the Game Boy Advance for sure, but it is not as heavy as maybe it looks. But yeah, this I've just had so much fun playing Super Nintendo, either just here in my hand or on plugging it into the TV. Okay, I'm gonna get distracted here with Super Mario. Okay, guys, focus. So let's go back to the web browser.
I am gonna go vacuum the living room.
Okay.
I will come back.
Okay.
Unless I get too excited about a vacuum. Which I do.
It is a fancy new vacuum. Okay, we will be here when you return. So, guys, oops. Put that over there. Okay, so let me show you Hyperkin. Do we have, okay, the Superboy. And there it is. Okay, yeah, so this is a much more accurate color representation of what it looks like in person. For some reason, yeah, this camera's not, probably because of my lighting situation, it's not doing a very good job at portraying it accurately. But yeah, that's the Superboy. They also have one coming up. Let me see if I can. I think they posted about it on their Instagram. Maybe. Let's see if we can find it. Yes, right here. I'm gonna mute this so that it doesn't blast us. So they are coming out with the Mega 95. And basically, as far as I know, the same thing, but for the Sega Genesis, which I loved the Sega Genesis as well. In fact, I've got one in my gaming storage. Oh man, that takes me. I remember the console wars, which a lot of people think PlayStation and Xbox, but long before that, the Sega versus Nintendo was the original battle or war of the consoles. Okay, Hagular, Sega was ahead of its time with internet gaming, Sega Channel, Dreamcast with the Dreamcast. Oh, yes, I totally agree. And also one of my favorite consoles. I still to this day lament the demise of Sega in the hardware world. I mean, you guys can see right over here, my original Game Gear. That was my first video game system ever. My introduction to video gaming was that very Game Gear that you see there. That's one of the few of my gaming hardware pieces that I still have all these years later. Let's see, Eric, I still have my Super Nintendo, however, the Superboy SP, yes, and it works really great. I will say the resolution on the screen is, the screen is not the highest quality of screens, but you can see here it's got an MSRP of $119. You could probably get it for less than that. I think that this is very fairly priced for the fact that you get a console that you can plug in and play on your TV or just play portably. And it's got a rechargeable battery too. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's got a USB-C port for charging, and it'll hold a battery for several hours just fine. So, okay guys, let me take a sip. There we go. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit. I don't know, I haven't really talked about it much on the channel, but I am a bit of an avid reader. I love a good novel. Primarily, and I know I am, I guess, one of the weird ones, I like fiction. I've read a few nonfiction books in the last few years, and they're fun. I enjoy history. I just, in general, like learning things, but there's something about a good, I don't know, a action thriller, sci-fi, fantasy that I really like. So I'm always on the lookout for, where did I put it? Did I not bring it down? Shoot, I thought I did. Oh no. Where did it go, guys? I must have not brought it down here. Well, a company that I have reviewed some of their devices before, called Big Me, recently sent me their new entry level, I guess I should, so bigme.vip, bidme, no, not Big Me, bigme.vip. Let's see, let's go to their website. I will admit is not the most navigable, however you say that. Okay, so I have tested their B6 color and their B6 black and white, and the color is okay. The black and white is awesome, and the fact that you can get it brand new for $179, I'm gonna try and do a review video on it as soon as I can, but it has just been such a great little device for reading. So down here, let's see if I can show you here. So these down here on the bottom are actually like hard-coded keys, and so these images that you see here like are printed onto the screen, so they don't change the images, but you can actually go in and change any of them functionality wise to any shortcut that you want. So you can make them navigation buttons, you can make them app shortcuts to open things, and so that I thought was a very nice touch. And it's got all of the cool Big Me stuff that you kind of have gotten used to. You've got all the different refresh rates. You've got, in the case of this one, a speaker as well as an expansion via SD card. And I don't know. To me, it's really kind of crazy, and it's very crisp too. This is one thing as well. I personally am not a fan of color e-ink devices. I've tried a few different ones at this point, and I don't know. There's just something about it. Maybe it's a little bit of that. What do they call it? Like uncanny valley, where it's like, this is color. It should be an LCD or an OLED, but it's not. It's an e-paper. And so for me, I prefer just the black and white, the monochrome e-ink panels. But I think that for the most part, in fact, let's look here and see if we go to, do they have their, this one is I think a little bit newer, so I don't know if they've got the specs listed. The B6 color, let's go here. There it is right there. So it's double. So it's double the pixels per inch. So yes, okay. So for 150 ppi for the color, and then 300 for the black and white, you definitely notice it when you're using it. But yeah, I've had it here. It arrived, I think, earlier in the week, this last week, and I threw on a book and have been reading it. And the thing that's nice about it too is it's got that Wi-Fi connectability. I don't know, does it take a SIM card? Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I thought I brought it down here with me. I could have just popped it out and looked at it. Let's go and look here. Additional information, description. But it's got the Google Play Store, so I was able to put on my favorite reader app, no problem. So it's got the SD card. The battery works great too. Like it's 2100 milliamp hours, which you think, but I mean it's lasted me a good long time. I'll have to check. Oh, here we go. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. Maybe it doesn't take a SIM card. In any case, it works really, really well. And I've really enjoyed, especially the black and white version. It seems to, the panel on it seems to be a little bit crisper. And I've been reading like crazy. So, Eric, yes, physical copies, and I do that too. But there's not every situation that lends itself well to, or as well to a physical book that a small little e-reader. So, but yeah, I do both. Now that you bring that up, I actually, depending on the situation, I will either do the physical or sorry, the actual book or the e-reader. The other thing that I really like too about the e-reader is if I'm commuting to work, the app that I use is called Read Era Premium. It has the ability to read out loud the text from the pages, and so you can program it to be whatever speed you like, and so it's a way for me to be able to essentially turn an ebook into an audiobook so that I'm not just wasting a bunch of time in the car. Haguilar, I wanted the Books Palma, but this looks like a great alternative for an e-ink Android device. Yeah, like I said, it's and I've tried the B7 as well, which is the 7-inch version, and it's quite a bit larger. It for sure does take a SIM card. I've tested that with it. But yeah, I kind of prefer the B6. The B6 black and white has been just a really great little device. So let me check. I've got a list here again today, guys. Let's go back. Okay, so one device I wanted to draw your attention to again. Let's see. Is the Bouchard Industries basic phone. So they have a pre-launch page set up on Kickstarter, and this is a project that I am following with great interest. I think I've mentioned it a little bit briefly here and there, but it's essentially an e-paper panel with, you can see there obviously a full QWERTY keypad, and instead of running Android, it's going to be running mobile Linux. And so and their whole I've talked to him several times. He's a super cool guy. His name's also Eric, and he really wants to make a device that is going to be in the core, in the heart of the intentional tech mindset, where it's going to be able to be maybe just one step above what you would maybe call a dumb phone. I think that there is going to be some functionality that an actual basic phone wouldn't be able to do. So for example, mostly they just do calling and texting and maybe some notes or maybe a calendar and things like that. But I'm really excited for this. I jumped on a call with him a couple of weeks ago, and he showed me in real time, and I think that he posted a video on his YouTube channel about it, so please go over and check that out and show him some love. But they have a prototype, a working prototype. He showed me making calls. We will watch your career with great return. Yes, thank you Haguilar. But so yeah, this is, and they're currently taking feedback from people. They've launched a Discord server if you are on Discord. But yeah, I just wanted to give this another shout out here on the channel, because I guess selfishly am really excited for it for my own purposes. As we'll talk about here in a moment, I really like these kind of middle of the road devices that have design aspects that help you hone in your focus from hardware limitations, not ones that are just solely based on software options, which again, there's definitely a place for that and they work great for some people. I am just one of those that the hardware forced, or I guess the hardware guided in some cases, aspects can really be helpful. So yep, you can go through, it shows the dimensions, front facing camera, loudspeaker, authentication app, ride sharing. So they've updated this a lot since the last time I was on here, you guys. Yep, you've got the front light. You've got some knobs. Oh, and look at this. You've got some hardware switches too. So you can have it disable the GPS or disable your network connectivity with a hardware kill switch. Love that. Full QWERTY keyboard, charger port, power button. Yep. Oh, and yep, he's got a link to one of our live streams there as well. So yes, Eric, super cool guy. I missed him at CES. I had no idea about the basic phone. Otherwise, I would have stopped by and checked it out. But I think this is really cool. I love the direction he's taking with it. So I'm definitely going to be watching that with great interest. So Eric, that looks like it would be something that would be good for a teenager to have instead of a full smartphone. Yeah, I mean there are a number of things that would be better for teenagers to have than full smartphones. And this is something too, like where I think back to sort of my teenage years. You know, we had cell phones and we had the beginnings of smartphones in what Blackberries were capable of and whatnot. But guys, let's be honest. These kinds of devices here, you can see my Clixel. These are not phones. These are computers. Smartphones, as they are today, with these massive screens, crazy horsepower. I mean, this phone that I'm holding right here is so much more powerful than the strongest gaming PC I ever encountered back when I was a teenager. It like doesn't even compare. But yes, I think that, and hopefully we're starting to see more and more of this. Or I guess hopefully we will continue to see more and more of this as I'm seeing polls and studies come out where younger Gen Z, when asked, they wish that social media, for example, didn't exist. They don't like the pressures. They don't like the expectation of being not only even always online, but always broadcasting yourself online. This is something that I don't know. I definitely feel for him, and I'm hopeful that we will start to see more options like this not only emerge on the market, but start to be adopted, and we start to see some shifts, some course corrections back to, not necessarily to turn back the clock, as you guys have, I'm sure, heard me say this before. It's not turning back the clock, it's more of a course correction, getting things back on track, so to speak. Aguilar, if it has a music and podcast app and ebook reader, I'm interested. I don't know specifically, but I would be shocked if it doesn't. In fact, you can kind of see here this icon with an e-paper. I'm not sure if it's going to be e-ink or more of a generic e-paper panel similar to the minimal phone. I don't think that they've finalized what display panel it will have yet. But yes, I'm almost certain they will have an e-reader functionality to it, and hopefully a podcast app or MP3 functionality. Vic, I looked into the manuals for the e-readers. B6 doesn't allow a SIM card, B7 does. Okay, that makes sense. So because I noticed there is a tray, and so on the B6 it must be just for expandable memory. But again, if you've got a phone and you could hotspot it, it does have Wi-Fi. But yes, the B7, that was something over the summer. I think was when I got my B7, early summer, maybe June-ish. And yeah, I went driving all around, loaded all of my different apps on it and with my SIM card, and it worked great. Eric, the shift is definitely happening, and we shall give its moment. Yes, it is cool to see it happen, and I love that we've got this growing community, and the different options are really good too. This is something that I think sometimes can be a little bit lost in different corners of the community. There's not really a one size fits all. There's not really a silver bullet of a device that is just going to be a perfect device for every single person that gets their hands on it. It's everyone has different needs, everyone has different life circumstances, and so the more options there are, I think the better capable the intentional tech market is going to be to meet the needs of all of those of us in it. So yes, I love the momentum. I'm definitely enjoying seeing all of these things hit the market. Let me just go back to my notes here really quickly. Okay, so shifting gears, there was recently, let's see if I can remember. Let's see. Do they have it? Let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. They recently announced, but where? But where did they announce it, you guys? That they are about to go live with the Titan 2 Elite Kickstarter. Where is it? No, let's switch to new. The Tank X. Hey, that's funny. I actually have a Tank X. It is a really cool phone. I used it the other day. We were driving home and I had to pull off and put some air in one of my tires. And you better believe I used my camp light to do that. It was really cool. Okay, guys, this is not showing me what I want. Okay, stand by. Oops. Where is it? There it is. Okay, we found it. So they did a post. They may have done this also on their Instagram, and I think that they are also on Twitter/X. But yes, so they are going the Kickstarter route. I know this was something that some people had kind of speculated if they were going to need to do Kickstarter, or if they were going to try and do it in-house without. Excuse me, guys, my voice is getting a little rowdy. But yes, and we've got what looks like to be at least these two color options. I don't know if there will be more. And I did confirm, or rather they confirmed with me a couple of weeks ago that they are planning on sending me a review unit sometime this month, with today being the 1st of March. And so, yeah, I will definitely keep you guys posted on how that goes. But one of the things that I really like, again, about these types, so whether it's the Titan 2 Elite, whether it's the communicator, whether it's what I've been using for a little while now, my Zinhua Q25, this is something that I think is really neat. When you have something that is in a package like this, a form factor like this, with a relatively small device, a relatively small screen, with kind of a strange aspect ratio, it just doesn't lend itself well to doom scrolling. And so the fact that we're having all of these options that just by the very nature of the package that you're holding in your hand and using, not to mention the fact that you've got the text input with the keyboard, which I personally, as you guys know, love. I think it's really cool. I think it's really going to be, whether it's the Clicks communicator, whether it's the Bouchard Industries basic phone, side phone is another one, key phone. Did I grab my key phone? You've got over here, been hanging out, the EcoMind 1 with my Zitao keyboard on it. All of these options, they're great for communicating. They're awful for doom scrolling. So basically going back to the glory days of the early 2000s, when you had a little bit of that smart tech to help you, but not to where that was the expectation of living in that smart tech as we have it today. So yes, keep an eye out if you're interested in the Titan 2 Elite. The Kickstarter is going to be coming soon. Shifting gears, some really oh, and the Eco Bear. Yes, yeah, there you go. I like that. I wish I had a 3D printer and the skills to do it. I would love to just be able to, because you can see here, this is connected via a magnet, a pop socket, I think is the brand, magnet here. And so, you know, in your pocket, it's really easy for it to kind of come a little bit undone. This magnet is definitely not as powerful as the one on the Clicks Power Keys that I played with at CES a little bit, and so I don't use it a ton, but sometimes I do if I'm sitting here. And it's got a wonderful keyboard. This is the one from the 9900, one of the best keyboards I would say ever put on a phone. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Okay, where was I going? Oh yes. Speaking of which, let's go to r/Clicks phone. Super cool announcement. Right here by Jeff himself. So the demand has been great enough. I know some people have asked me about this, that they, during the pre-order period, I don't know if they're going to do it beyond that. I don't think this is something that they are going to make a bunch of and keep an ongoing stock of. But for people who are interested during the pre-order period and pre-order, and I think maybe the initial launch period as well, you'll be able to get not only a English QWERTY device, but you can get the French AZERTY, the German Quartz, as well as Korean and Arabic options. So you can kind of see here, you've got the Azurity here with the Y down at the bottom. You can see that's the quartz. And then you've got these other, the Arabic and the Korean there as well. I think that this is super, super cool. You got the, see, you can see there the Azurity for the French. You got the olive drab clover for the quartz. I just think this is so cool. You got the smoke for the Korean, and then the Arabic. I'm guessing. But yes, so you guys can go over, you can read the full announcement if you would like. They also announced that they are going to be having not the 7200 or the 7300, as some people had speculated, but it is going to be the Dimensity 8300 in communicator, which I think is, I mean, honestly, guys, I am not a specs snob, but the fact that they decided to spring for this more powerful chipset, I think is going to make the communicator much more future-proof, not to mention, you know, great performance in something this size. But yes, I am beyond excited for communicator, all of the features that they're packing into it from a hardware standpoint as well as from a software standpoint. With a capacitive keyboard. Yes, we can. I can go all day about how excited I am for all of these upcoming QWERTY devices generally, but the communicator in specifics, I am very, very excited for. And yeah, so you can see here some more language support for people outside of the English-speaking world. Love it. So, just want to make sure I'm covering everything here, guys. Sorry, this is kind of distracting that I looked at. Okay, so let's talk about a project I've been following for quite some time, SidePhone. So, without further delay, let me move my keyboard over here really quickly, and we'll go over to the overhead cam. This, what is this talking about here? Is the camera going to, it is, okay. So I have one of the effects. So for those of you that are not familiar with SidePhone, this is a tiny little Android-based device, Android as in AOSP, so it uses a very stripped down version of what Android itself is based on. And one of the coolest things about it is it has keyboard modules that they call tiles. So you can see here, this is the T9 tile. I'll show you here next to it the sundial tile, which it's 9 little buttons here that you can program to whatever you would like. And then my personal favorite, what they are calling the compact QWERTY tile. Very reminiscent of one of my favorite phones of all time, the BlackBerry Pearl. So I'm going to move those over here for a minute. I'll move the SidePhone. I'll put the tile on so you guys can kind of see a little bit of a size comparison. Yes, Eric, that is cheating. It's been so long since I used T9, because back in the day, this is what I used. I didn't even really use much of T9 back in the day. As soon as I got my hands on a Pearl, not this one came out a little bit later, but the original Pearl with the click wheel or the track wheel, I think that, or the scroll wheel, I think they call it. I can't remember. I had to put the labels on there to be able to use the, anyway, what I was saying with that is, guys, mine is one of the, so that they noticed that there was a firmware bug on I can't remember what Chris said, I was talking to him about it, a small number of SidePhones that prevent the compact QWERTY tile from being recognized by the phone. And so, and mine just so happens to be one of those that's affected. So sundial works fine. The T9 works fine. For some reason, the compact, now I've been able to work with them. We've done a bunch of troubleshooting. Luckily, it is fixable via an over-the-air update. It's not something that they need to send, people will need to send their tile back in and get warranty replacements or whatnot. It is fixable via software update, but it's been a very unfortunate turn of events that some of them are affected. But they've got some cool. These are. What is this? What it's not. I don't think it's a TPU. It's more of a silicon kind of a soft case. But I just love the size. I mean, it's quite a bit larger than the Pearl. But I think that the size of Side Phone it's just so good. You forget it's in your pocket, and like I said, it's running AOSP. It's got their Side OS on it, which is a very thoughtful way. They've put a lot of thought into the software itself to where if you need certain things beyond what you could get with just a dumb phone, for example, Telegram I use with all of my family members and my close friends, and so you can get Telegram on there. WhatsApp you can get, Signal you can get directly from their store, or sorry, their app library itself, but they do it in kind of a cool way. Let me, I'm going to shift over here, put my keyboard back over here. Sorry I have to keep doing that, you guys. I'm sure it's kind of annoying. Side Phone, let's go back over to the web browser. Okay, so you can kind of see here, this is their website. If you go over to the user guide, they have all kinds of articles in here showing you how to do pretty much anything you need to. You can search if you want to. So if we go here, set up and enable, they have what are called app packs. So when you get Side Phone, if you open it for the first time, you'll notice they have their app library. If you go in there, there's nothing there. So you have to go in and deliberately, so it shows you right here. Okay, this is cool. You've got your phone, messages, contacts, camera, gallery, files, clock, settings, app library, and key mapper, which they have in the settings menu. So app library doesn't have any apps that you can download. So you have to come to the Side Phone website here with app library open and add app packs. And what that does is it will show you, for example, to add the input app pack, you'll go app library, scan the QR code. Now you can download the TT9 app or the Jake type app. And you would use those with the corresponding either the T9 tile or the compact QWERTY tile. The Essentials Plus app pack. So this has the ability to download and install a Notes app, Maps, the Fossify calendar, all of these messaging. This is how I got Telegram, the browser, if you want any of these browsers, Proton. I personally am a huge fan of Proton, which, by the way, I do have affiliate links with. So if you ever want to go with Proton, stop by my channel, and that would be a great way to support the channel if you use my link. But I use Proton Mail every day, Proton VPN, Calendar, Drive. I mean, all of these are awesome. So what you would do is you go into the app library, you would scan the different app packs, and then that makes it so that you can download and install the apps that are in the corresponding app packs. Why have they done this? I think it's a very, very good way to add a little bit of friction for making you be a lot more deliberate about the apps that you put on your phone. It makes it so that you have to put in a little bit more effort. And again, it adds that layer of friction to help you be a little bit less distracted by just going in and putting all of your apps on there as you would need. You can also, if you want, so Obtainium is another alternative app store. What it does is it can basically go through and scan all of the different app repositories that exist out there for any old app that you might need. And so I used Obtainium to get the Aurora App Store, which the Aurora App Store has almost every single app that you would find in Google Play. So on my own Side Phone, I used the Aurora Store to get Spotify and to get Niagara Launcher. And with using Obtainium to do that, Aurora Store was able to download them both just fine. So yeah, this is I'm thrilled. I really do like my Side Phone a lot. It's just I haven't yet been able to enjoy the compact QWERTY tile and Jake type because mine is one of those few affected ones that it can't communicate. But like I said, we did some troubleshooting. I got on a call with Chris. We were able to get it all figured out. So for me and other affected people, they should have an over-the-air update coming out quickly. And yeah, I'll be doing my review video tomorrow. Oh, nice, Eric. Awesome. Oh, I am looking forward to seeing your video, my friend. It took me a bit to get in the groove of texting with T9 again, but I got it. Yes. I also, I'm not going to do it on camera because I would definitely be embarrassing myself. But it does take some getting used to. But it's amazing what the brain of humans can do when you put your mind to it. So yeah, guys, that I think concludes my list. Anything that I have missed? Anything you guys want to chat about tonight? Let's see. I guess I could. So Keyphone, I have actually been using my Keyphone a bit lately. I find it to be a really, really great little disconnect phone. I can just pop. That's the other thing I was going to say. So I saw some people ask about this. And the reason I say that is because what I was going to say is I pop my SIM card into my Keyphone, and I have to laugh because my SIM card is a side phone SIM card. So they do offer, let's go back to the web browser here. I don't know if you can get to it from, this is the docs. Products maybe? I don't know if you can get to it from here. Okay, well, if you go to plans.sidephone.com, so every side phone ships with a SIM card. And you can go in here and you can see here all plan include member perks, unlimited calls and texts, and then you can get either a 1 gig plan for $10 a month or an unlimited data plan for $35 a month. And you can transfer over your existing number. So you can go in, if you've already got an account, you would just log in or you put in your device. So I transferred my number over, and credit to Chris and Sebastian and the team over at Gigs, I think is the name of the company that they've partnered with. It was a seamless experience. I was able to port my number over from US Mobile to side phone mobile. I'm not exactly sure what they're calling it, and it took I think less than 15 minutes to be up and running. And they use the T-Mobile network, and so if you've got T-Mobile coverage in your area, which works great for me because that happens to be who has the strongest signal where I live between here and where I work. And so it was a seamless experience. And so it's just a nano SIM, and I believe they do also. You might be able to do eSIM. I mean, obviously, side phone doesn't support eSIM, so I don't know why you would want to. And I think at this point, the only way you can get the SIM is with the side phone. But for the record, if everyone is curious about it, side phone does have their own wireless service, and I've been using it for about a week, and it hasn't given me any issues at all. Hasn't even stuttered, and that includes taking it out and putting it into a different device. But yes, in fact, that might be kind of a fun little outro here, you guys. A side by side of a Keyphone and side phone. I'll take the case off so you can kind of see. There you go, guys. So, Keyphone is larger. Battery life on both has been great. With side phone, I was getting I think I've been getting about 2.5 days of battery life. Now, granted, that is with me using it very much in Jake mode. So I've just got my calling, my texting, Telegram, and I did put Spotify on there for some music listening. And yeah, I'd be getting two plus days pretty reliably. You guys can kind of see here the back side of it. I will say camera on Keyphone is quite a bit better, but the camera on side phone, I mean, if you're needing it for QR code scanning, even some basic pictures, it's fine. It is not terrible, but it's also not great either. So you can see the power button is in the inverse places and the volume rocker. Over on this side here. Sorry guys, that camera is not liking what I'm doing. Come on, bud. So you've got SIM tray. Keyphone has SD card slot, as well as your nano SIM, as well as 3 programmable keys. It's got a lanyard loop, USB-C on the bottom, removable battery. and then headphone jack on the top, no headphone jack there. However, USB-C headphones work great in side phone. I didn't have any issues with that at all. And then key phone, you do have that not hot swappable, but you've got a removable battery that if you do need to pop it out and, you know, juice up while you're on the go. Now, granted, very different price points. I think last time I checked, key phone is $120 more than side phone, 130. So different price points, and key phone is also very locked down, so you can't put apps on it. There's no app store. You're very limited in what you can do. It very much is a dumb phone, and you do have a full QWERTY keyboard compared to the compact QWERTY, which I really am excited for using this. So yeah, just to give you guys, I know these are probably going to be devices that people ask me to show a side-by-side on, and there you have it. So let's head back over. Okay. Eric, I had to transfer my number as well. My previous cell provider worked, but I couldn't receive pictures via text, and group text didn't come in properly. Oh, interesting. I wonder if your previous carrier was Verizon. Oh, and Henry, that side phone is so slick. Is it a solid metal build? No, it is not. It is a smooth plastic that is colored. Let me go back to my overhead cam here so you can see. It kind of looks sort of like a brushed aluminum, and it feels really good in the hand. It's got a decent weight to it. It doesn't feel overly light or cheap, I guess you could say. I definitely am going to be using my case on it just because I do have kids and they tend to get a hold of things and drop them. But yes, maybe down the road we could convince them to do a side phone deluxe that is made out of an aluminum or something like that, if it's even possible. I don't know how that works with like antenna reception with all of the radio frequency interference that might be caused and whatnot. So anyway, guys, it's been real. It's been great. I would even say it's been real great. Thank you so much for being here. I will, maybe one other thing for those of you that would like to get in touch. Let's see, what's going to be the best way if we go to, oops, going to bring my keyboard back over here. Oops. Okay, let's go back over here. So if you would like to get in touch, probably the best way, so I've replaced my Discord server with a Telegram group, which for those of you that aren't familiar with Telegram, it's kind of similar to WhatsApp. But recently they rolled out some features that make it actually very similar to the channel layout in Discord, and it's worked really great. I know a number of you are there already, but for those that would like to stay in touch, that's probably the best way to do it. Over on Reddit, you can DM me. Instagram, you can DM me. Twitter, I'm there as well. I don't spend as much time there as I used to. That might be going away soon, just because I don't spend a lot of time there. But yeah, that's going to be the best way to get in touch if you would be so inclined. And I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for having another great stream. I apologize for having missed last week. A lot of stuff going on, some changes at work and things like that, and some family stuff, and I just couldn't get home in time to do it. But the goal is to continue doing weekly streams going forward. So thanks so much for being here. You guys really are the best part of Returning Retro, being able to interact with you, being able to hopefully provide videos and posts and things like that that are beneficial to you, help you, make some good informed decisions in terms of the tech that you might want to use or try out. So yeah, any suggestions are always welcome. If you're not already, come over to the Telegram group. I'd love to chat with you. So thanks again, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.